Shalom. I like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Salutations to the Akim, preaching this word around the four corners with truth and sincerity. And shalom to the Akim and Akwat, the believers, part of the hopeful elect. Lord's willing, I'll be part of that number. It's coming back in the spirit and theme of prophecy. And, you know, the Lord is visiting this place which He made. You know? Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is visiting this place. And I got a video I'm going to play and get a scripture. And Lord's willing, this will be edifying.
But things are starting to heat up in the Atlantic. 5 tropical disturbances in the Atlantic are being monitored now for possible development in the coming days. And we've been talking about so far what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico as well as the Caribbean. But those aren't the only areas of interest. We're also talking about an area just off the East Coast and also in the Central Tropical Atlantic and the Eastern Tropical Atlantic. So we've got just areas left and right that have just blossomed, exploded all over the basin.
3, 4, 5.
Connect the dots. That's pretty much what we're doing right now.
I mean, this week is just like if it were an Olympic sport, it would be Australian breakdancing.
Yeah.
It just looks haphazard, terrible. It doesn't make any kind of sense. I mean,
but when you look at this, though, and I have to understand, it looks menacing. It looks very scary from an outsider's perspective because we've got 5 areas that we're watching. But when we actually talk about each one in detail, then you're like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're close to our climatological peak, which is in about 5 days or so.
Yeah.
But this year in particular, it's been anything but normal, Bob, that you know. So I think we won't see the actual peak of activity until maybe the end of September or early October.
Right. But
that's not to say that we don't have a lot of areas that we're tracking still.
Yeah, you're right. And it's a good point. So we got the MJO is kind of suppressing air right across the entire Atlantic basin, even parts of the Eastern Pacific. So that's been good news. Everything that tries to develop really is struggling to do so. I mean, right now we're talking, like you said, 5 days away from the peak of hurricane season. Climatological peak is September 10th. And when you see the biggest threat that we have is a 30% shot in the lower part of the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche, that's a blessing because we thought this was going to be a blockbuster season where it would be relentless shot after shot after shot. Right now, that's all we've got.
Yeah, and so it's great to see. I think you really said it best. It's a blessing because it could be far worse this time of the year. 30% chance of development. Again, there is, factors at play here as it works its way over the Yucatan Peninsula. We'll be watching to see what happens. But the overall situation, the possibilities at play are going to probably kind of rip and tear the system apart, and that's why there's a very low in chance of development over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Water's warm, but that's about it.
That's all we got. So yeah, you look at that check mark. So we've got low wind shear. We've got high wind shear across the region. High moisture. It's marginal.
Yeah,
right?
Pockets of dry air.
Exactly. Pockets. It's going to go over land, too, which is arid, so you've got that. And then you do have some humidity beginning to pop back up across, I'd say, extreme western part of the Gulf of Mexico. But what it does have working for it is the warm sea surface temperatures, and it goes deep, too. You're talking about a nice heat content in that water, 88 degrees. This is the warmest water on the planet at this point. That's what that Brian Norcross had said the other day. I'm like, yeah, you know, that is pretty interesting. You throw any kind of circulation over that could be an issue. But so far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. And so on its current track, it's expected to work its way over the Yucatan Peninsula by tomorrow and then potentially emerge into the Gulf sometime by Saturday. So that's why we do have the area that's highlighted in orange. That indicates that early next week we'll have an improving environment because of what you just highlighted, Bob, the incredibly warm sea surface temperatures. But the overall kind of outcome of this is that most likely what's going to happen is that we'll have this system that's just going to stall in the Gulf, and that will allow for multiple days of heavy rain from Texas all the way over to the southeast.
That's a good point, and it's going to be because of this cold front. It's going to be positioned up a little farther north than that where I drew it in, but it'll keep it capped down there. So if it does swirl around and kind of gets locked in across Bay of Campeche, maybe some strengthening going on right there as it spins. But there's your gyre right here, and really, we're going to have to watch for homegrown storm systems this year, I'm thinking. So tail end a cold front, then you get that one that's off the East Coast as as well. It's all going to move up and away from the land. But right now, that's what we're watching. There's not a lot of humidity, not a lot of pull with this one. 30% chance. This one, believe it or not, has the best chance of any kind of development.
It's pretty crazy. So as the saying goes, you can't sleep on the Gulf, and we're certainly not going to do so. But at least we like the odds that we have right now.
You're right. And this is we were highlighting this area right there. That brand new too. So that was yesterday afternoon. NHC tagged that one as a watch area. It was 10% and then a 20% chance.
Yep.
But it's non-tropical, so it doesn't have a warm core at all. In fact, it's could be caught up with a frontal boundary.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a few hundred miles to the east of the Carolinas, and it's continuing to track its way to the northwest. That's why it's not going to be a big issue for us, especially up and down the East Coast. But we'll watch it. Like you mentioned, subtropical could take on some subtropical characteristics over the next couple of days. Yeah, possibly, but most likely as it works its way over the cooler waters this weekend, then it's just going to say, nope, it's going to fall apart.
And it is around a frontal boundary. So when a storm like this goes full frontal, I just like saying that. It's not going to be tropical in nature. So there you go. Watch it move up to the north just a little bit farther. And this is the area of concern right there. Now, it's going to lash into areas by down East Maine with some cloud cover, maybe some passing rain. But that's it. You're talking about maybe some higher swells coming in as well. But it looks like center circulation goes right into Nova Scotia.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So maybe some larger swells, maybe some rip current risk. But again, you're probably not going to be in the ocean anyway at this point because a lot of the beaches just closed.
Labor Day,
so,
we're the week after Labor Day.
Kind of a bummer, and then I guess just the rain. But we will have a cooler air mass that will be coming in on the backside of that front, which will help to kind of kick this system out of here. I think you said it best about 30 minutes or so ago. We said a hockey puck or just flung it on out to sea. That's pretty much what will happen.
That's what it's going to be like. So hurricane researchers at Colorado State University, they're working to temper expectations for a potentially record-breaking year. We've got Phil Klotzbach on Tuesday said that, they're not going to see much development at all over the next 2 weeks. And you can see the names. I mean, we're still stuck on the F-name storm.
Yeah, oddly enough, we're actually running behind schedule now because we typically see our F-name storm right around August 29th, and that hasn't occurred yet.
So we've got
and subtropical could take on
swell. What it's going to be like. So hurricane researchers at Colorado State University, we've got Phil Klotzbach on Tuesday said that they're not going to see much development at all over the next 2 weeks. And you can see the names. I mean, we're still stuck on the F-name storm.
Yeah, oddly enough, we're actually running behind schedule now because we typically see our F-name storm right around August 29th. And
Salakia. Yeah, as you can see, you got storms coming. This came out a few days ago, the September 5th. So as you can see, storms is brewing. I'll just get a quick preset. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Yeah, and you see that it says Lord in all caps. Whenever you see the Lord in all caps, it's speaking about the Heavenly Father, the God of Israel. His name is Yahweh. And his only begotten son's name is Yahweh Shai. It's not Jesus Christ. It's Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Why Yahweh Shai. So you can see that the Lord is visiting this place. And you best believe that it's going to get worse as the time passes by. Let me get a precept in the Apocrypha. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and starting at the top. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time. Salakia. Then thou shalt see, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So like it says, when you see the times pass, but matter of fact, let me read on. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and do we not see that nowadays? You know? There have been multiple earthquakes. There's earthquakes every day in various places. Just recently, there was, I believe, a 7.1 in Japan, and a 7.0 in Russia. That's earthquakes in diverse places. Uproars of the people. You got the people, you know, up in arms, protesting everywhere. You just pick a spot on the globe and you got civil unrest. And it says, then what is it? Yeah, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And manifest, when you look up the word manifest, it means clear. So the end is being made crystal clear. You know, we're at the end of the rulership of Esau, the so-called white man. It's just like it says in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. How Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And you could tell that we're at the end if you pay attention to the signs, measure out the signs diligently. So this is a beautiful time to be alive. Lord's willing, you was edified. And until next time, I say shalom to the elect.